Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Tonight is the August 22nd, 2019 Town Board meeting. Will everybody please rise for the pledge to the flag?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. So, hope everybody's enjoying their summer. Just a few announcements. On August 5th, I attended our East Fishkill PBA golf outing. Very well attended. It was a great event. It was at the Trump Golf Course here in Stormville. It was a nice hot day. It was a lot of golfers there, a lot of support for our PBA. They do a great job. Thank you to our PBA president, Craig Winters, and the executive committee, Mark Dodado, Kyle Dowdy, and Paul Gaston. They did a great job. They do it every year, and it seems like they get more and more people to come out every year. So thank you for a great job, and it was a nice day. On the 6th, I had a pre-meeting here at the town hall for our DEC meeting that we were supposed to have the next day. We had our town attorney, our economic development director, a member of Sue Serino's staff, our Senator Sue Serino, Ron Hicks, who is the Deputy Dutchess County executive. They came. We had a discussion about what we were supposed to discuss the next day. Unfortunately, that meeting had to be canceled because the deputy director, the deputy commissioner of the DEC actually could not attend in person. I felt that it was very important that we have this meeting face-to-face with the DEC. As many of you know, I've been discussing that we have to have this meeting with the DEC in conjunction with all the governments so we can agree to what has been happening over at the iPark IBM former East Campus. As many of you know, I've been discussing this, that there are personal deed restrictions on the property above and beyond what the DEC has, but we have had discussions with Global Foundries and IBM, and they're willing to sit down and hammer out an agreement as long as the DEC agrees to everything. So it was my plan to have a large meeting with all of the governments involved, the governor's office, Megan Taylor, which is the economic director for our region for New York State, county executive's office, and also our Congressman Maloney's office. But we will be having that meeting soon. I have reached out to the DEC for a new meeting date, and they will let me know when that will be. And I will let everybody else know. On the 8th, I had a meeting with Ramesh Mirchandani. He is the chapter co-chair of SCORE. SCORE is a Dutchess County not-for-profit that helps small businesses. They help guide them. They give support for free. They help with marketing. If you need staffing, if you need business plans, they help these businesses for free. And I'm going to invite them to our next economic development committee meeting, which will be next month in September, and he will give an overview of what the committee does and how he can help local businesses here in East Fishkill. That same night, I also had a meeting with some members of our ARB board. They want to discuss what the future role is of the ARB board. As many of you know, we had a little change to make them an advisory board, which doesn't change anything for them except that they give an advisory opinion to the planning board. We discussed next steps for them and also what their vision is for the future of our town. They were very concerned about how they want buildings and future development to look, and that's very nice. It's nice that we have people who are concerned with how our town will look. And I appreciate them, and I appreciate them reaching out to me to have a meeting. So thank you to those members. On the 9th, I had a meeting with Town of Fishkill Supervisor Bob Lacola. We meet about twice a year to go over our joint landfill. We share a landfill with the town of Fishkill. It's over in Wikipe on the border of East Fishkill and Fishkill. And basically we go over to see what our costs are for the year, where we could save dollars, and we had to do a couple different projects there this year. We had to put some fencing up and fix the gate there. So basically we review all these things twice a year, and we look where we can cut. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of places you could cut. It's a landfill. It is our responsibility to look over that, and we do. So thank you to the supervisor for heading that up. On Sunday the 11th, the East Fishkill Historical Society, they had their community bread bake. A great event. It's our East Fishkill Historical Society is a great organization. They do a lot. They try to do an event every month. Our town board is a big proponent of theirs. We try to support them whenever we can. We have a great relationship. It was a great event. They had an outdoor oven that they built, and they encourage people to come and bake whatever you like there. I actually brought some pizza doughs and made some pizzas for the whoever was there for lunch, and I got to speak to many residents. It was a real nice event, so thank you to Rick Soler and the East Fishkill Historical Society. On Monday the 12th, myself and the town comptroller met with our IT consultant, Sullivan Data, and our building maintenance foreman, Butch Kidney, about our IT project that we're going to be starting. We are moving our infrastructure room that we have upstairs here to downstairs, and we have, this is going to be a big project. We're replacing servers, we're adding Wi-Fi to the building, we have to do other backup upgrades to it. For the police department, we're installing the track system, the AVL system, which is a vehicle locator system, and many, many more things. I guess it was, it's better sooner than later, because this past weekend, unfortunately, I got a call on Saturday afternoon from Sullivan Data that there was an emergency here at Town Hall. I had to get here right away. 2 of our backup systems went down. And if the third one went down, then we would have lost all the backup in our town hall. So it was very important. I got down here with their technician, and he installed something to do the backup. But he said that it's old equipment, and unfortunately this type of thing does happen often when equipment is due to be replaced. It just seems to break quicker. But we are ready to do that, and I appreciate the comptroller and everybody getting on board with this, so thank you very much. On the 14th, I had a meeting with our highway superintendent, town engineer, town attorney. We met with the New York State Department of Transportation. We reviewed plans that they came to us about a new park and ride, or I should say expansion of the park and ride on Route 52. Right now, there is the current park and ride that is on the east side of the Taconic State Parkway. Well, they want to build an additional lot on the west side, and it will mimic the one on the east side. They will construct it, and once it is finished, then they will go to the east one, the current one, and then do a full renovation of it. New lighting, new plantings, everything. So they gave us a whole overview of what they wanted to do there, got some input from our town engineer, from our highway superintendent, to see where we can do something that we possibly wanted, possibly where they would push the snow and other items like that. But thank you very much to the New York State DOT for coming here for that meeting. Also on the 14th, I met with our economic development director, our town planner, town attorney. We're discussing some projects going on at the I-Park and in that area, the Route 52 area. Also, we discussed our business forum that we will be having soon. Councilman Marinaro and I have been discussing this for a while. We're going to have a large business forum. I discussed last month how we had a smaller business forum meeting. We had it here at Town Hall, where we invited the local businesses in to discuss their needs and how the town can help them. Well, this is going to be a little bit larger. It's actually going to be hosted at I-Park. It will be in October. We will be inviting all the local communities and local community businesses as well. Also, we are going to invite some of the area elected officials, like the supervisors in the neighboring towns, also the county executive, the state senators, the state assemblymen, federal senators. We want to have DEC there, all different types of organizations and government agencies. So all these business owners can come to this forum and network with us and network with them, and then actually after the meeting ends, to have a little networking time where they can go to the certain office or agency and ask them the questions that they need to know, answers that they want to get from them that are concerning about their business. So it's going to be a really large event. It's going to be very nice. We'll be advertising it very shortly. It's going to be in October. I believe it's going to be October 3rd or 2nd. We haven't decided which, but I'll get that information out. So thank you for everyone for that meeting. Also on the 14th, we met with the town attorney and our rec director, Jan McHugh. We were discussing Julie's Jungle bid for the Sensory Gardens. We received a grant last year to install these sensory gardens at Julie's Jungle, which is going to be wonderful. We actually have that resolution tonight. So thank you to the rec director and to the Julie Jungle Board for continuing to make that a huge success over there at Lime Kiln. On the 14th as well, I had a phone conference with Congressman Maloney's office, his chief of staff and his district director. We discussed issues with the MTA. If you all remember, I discussed that we will be having a bridge replacement on Route 82, possibly next year. And also we were discussing traffic improvements for our hamlet that would go down Route 82 even more. Well, like I said, we had some issues with the MTA where they didn't want to allow at-grade crossings. We are trying to reach out to different branches of government to try and assist us with this, to get this approved. The New York State Department of Transportation is in favor of doing an at-grade crossing for the bridge replacement. Instead of a bridge replacement, do an at-grade crossing. The town concurs with that because they can add additional traffic improvements as well. They would possibly do a traffic circle down by Beekman Road, run some sidewalks all the way into town from that side of town. It would be very beneficial. So I had a discussion with the congressman's office. They're willing to help us with this, and I will let everybody know how that goes. Unfortunately, I mentioned last month that our former Congresswoman Sue Kelly, she had a earmark for $600,000, which was going to help offset traffic, to help traffic improvements in the hamlet. And we didn't know what happened to that earmark. It was very old, and they did track it down, and the earmark was used for a different project. So we cannot utilize those dollars for any traffic improvements in our town, unfortunately. But the Congressman's office did say that there are other federal railroad grants available to help with this, so they are looking into that, and I will let everybody know how that goes. Earlier in the month, I contacted the New York State DOT Regional Director, Lance McMillan, about speeds on Route 52. We had many complaints about that. I had many residents call me that they believe that the speed on Route 52 is too excessive, especially in the Stormville area, because of they have private driveways off of Route 52, and these cars are traveling at a high rate of speed that they feel it's unsafe. So I sent him an email about it, and within a few hours, a member of his staff called me to tell me that they can do a speed survey, that the criteria, though, that they utilize is the 85th percentile, which means the 85% of the people travel at a certain speed, and that, and in coordination with how many accidents they have, is how they determine what the speed will be. Well, fortunately, there's not that many accidents on that stretch of Route 52, but I will follow up with him about the speed survey. Also, earlier this week, I received a letter from some residents concerning about the conditions of Route 82. It was actually multiple residents signed a petition saying that they want us to do something about it. As everybody knows, Route 82 is a state road. I will be contacting the regional director again to discuss this, but I do have the letter for the people who did send it, and I will let you know what the response will be. On the 19th, we had a meeting with the town comptroller, myself. We went to the city of Beacon, City Hall. We met with the mayor, the city manager, the town of Fishkill supervisor, and the town of Wappinger supervisor. This year we received a grant from Dutchess County to do a study on shared services for a human resource director. Well, we had to discuss about this because we did receive some RFPs, 5 different RFPs for it, and the cost is very substantial. The grant was only for $75,000, and most of these studies came in around $50,000 to $60,000. Well, that doesn't leave a lot of money for implementation. So I suggested to the rest of the supervisors and the mayor that we come up with our own criteria to send to the county, and then perhaps we could use all the $75,000 for implementation. We all agreed, so we will be forwarding something to the county to see if they can accept that. If they can, that would be wonderful. So we could use the full 75 to hire somebody. I'll keep everybody abreast of that. A little Hillside Lake update. We have removed all the sediment that we are permitted for right now. We have installed an outlet control structure into the lake. That's why we had to lower the lake down to nothing. There was an old structure in the lake with a valve which was buried. It didn't really work very well. It was broken. So we had to set in there what did we put in there, like a chamber, Scott?
Basically an outlet control structure with stop logs. This way we can actually set the elevation. In the past, if you could open the valve, there was no way to set an elevation, because it was like pulling a plug on your bathtub. It would just drain out unless you went the next day or the next day. Now we can actually pull the stop log, set a specific elevation. If we want to drop it a foot, 2 feet, whatever we want to drop it, we can set to that elevation.
So that'll be very helpful in the future when we want to do work in the future there. So we installed that structure device. Now we are we had discussions with Stephen Gruber, which he is going to help us with implement the grant that we received for it. And we're going to start installing the filtration at the outfalls, the stormwater filtration. The lake is refilling right now. And maybe next year, I had some calls from some residents from Hillside Lake asking about the other outfall areas, if we can remove some stumps and sediment over there, because obviously all the residents in Hillside Lake could see, since the lake was emptied, that there is many stumps, and the bottom of the lake is needing to be contoured and whatnot. Well, we couldn't do that much work. It was outside the scope of our DEC permit, but we will be applying for more permits in the future to do more work at the other outfall areas. We will be starting the work very shortly, and I'll keep you abreast of this to that. We will put something on Channel 22 and our Facebook pages and our town website to let you know a little update every now and then. Yesterday, I attended the Dutchess County Office of the Aging Senior Picnic. It was here at the Hopewell Rec. Our county executive, Mark Molinaro, our state senator, Sue Serino, our entire town board, our district attorney, Bill Grady, our Dutchess County clerk, Brad Kendall, all were in attendance. It was a great event. It was over probably about 300 seniors there. It was a huge event. It did rain, a tremendous downpouring of rain, but the seniors were getting a little upset because they had to delay the lunch a little bit because they had to cook the chicken for them, but they did do it, and they did have a wonderful lunch. Bob Martinson was there. He provided some entertainment for the day. It was a great event, so thank you to Dutchess County Office of the Aging, thank you to the county executive, thank you to the town board for attending. Those events are not, you don't want to miss those. It's a lot of fun. Today I met with our fire commissioner, Corey Earhart. We usually meet monthly. We discuss problems and issues going on in town. One issue is about hydrants in our town-owned water systems and private systems. There are some out-of-service hydrants. The town has been collecting data. Recently, we have been signaling out which hydrants are not in working order. We have a few more water districts to update that chart for. We're doing that. I did share that with the commissioner. He was very happy with how much we did already. Also, we discussed about water down Route 52. As I discussed, there are some issues down Route 52 in that area where the fire district headquarters is by the police station. We have a lot high salt levels in the water down there. So well, I discussed with them, they have some wells on site which the town could possibly utilize. Tomorrow, myself and the town engineer are actually going to go down there, take a look. If we could utilize them, that would be wonderful, would save us some money. But we don't know until we see, and also we have to get approval from Dutchess County Department of Health. As everybody knows how they work, you've heard myself multiple times discuss that, but we will see what we can do. I have discussed with many business owners down that corridor about the salt issue. I have been discussing with the town board members, and we are trying to come up with a solution. I will let you know soon. And the last thing I'd like to mention is the passing of a real true community leader, a true volunteer, Vern Jackson. Vern was the co-owner of Shenandoah Farm, and he was the co-founder of Hudson Valley Fresh. Vern was one of the founding fathers of the Dutchess County Farm Bureau. He served on Dutchess County Dairy Committee, the Dutchess County Extension Services Committee. He was an Eastern Milk Producers Delegate, a Dairy Farmers of America Delegate, a member of the New York State Farm Bureau as well. He served on our East Fishkill Planning Board. He served on the Central Hudson Consumer Advisory Board. He was on the East Fishkill Historical Society. He was also on the board of directors for Mid-Hudson Savings Bank. He did a lot. He was a real treasure to our town. And through all this volunteering that he did, he was also a life member of the East Fishkill Fire District. That was his passion. He was very passionate about the fire district. He was instrumental in leading the building of the substation, the Wickapee substation, Station 4, and he also served as a East Fishkill Fire Commissioner from 1991 to 2000. He was also a caring husband to his wife Sandra, and a wonderful father to 5 children, Will, Dan, Tom, John, and Jenny. And I'm sure everybody, most people in town know all of them. They are a big part of our community. They do a lot for our community, a lot of volunteering. He was a very good man. He had a very generous heart. I heard many stories at his funeral how he went without to give help to other people when they were in need. I'm very proud to call Vern my friend. I'm thankful for all the wise counsel that he gave me. So on behalf of the town of East Fishkill, we send our thoughts and prayers to the Jackson family, and he will be missed. And with that, Town Clerk, would you call the roll?
Councilman Cassidy,
Present.
Councilman Marinero,
Present.
Councilman Franco,
Present.
Councilman Beeson is absent, Supervisor D'Alessandro.
Present. Thank you, Madam Clerk. With that, did everybody receive the July 25th, 2019 minutes? Clerk, were there any altercations, additions, subtractions?
No.
No? Okay, with that, do I have a motion to approve the July 25th, 2019 minutes?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried, thank you. There are no additions to the agenda tonight. We are at courtesy of the floor. It's a part of the meeting where any town residents wish to speak about any general town issues. Please come up to the podium.
Hello, I'm Hannah Oppenheim. I just completed my 3rd year as co-director of the East Fishkill Summer Camp. My co-director, Jimmy Trail, he couldn't be here tonight, so I'm come to represent us both. So we wanted to come here to comment on what a wonderful summer this was. We had over 250 campers registered this season who all seemed to thoroughly enjoy their camp experience. Our assistant directors, program director, health director, counselors, and CITs were all wonderful. We went on 15 trips, hosted 21 tournaments, and had a slew of special activities and events throughout the summer. We wanted to thank you for your support. We had a few issues with town leadership at the beginning of the summer, and you stepped in and made the necessary changes which allowed us to do our job and provide a safe and enjoyable experience for our campers each day. Thank you for recognizing those issues and supporting us at that time. Thank you also to the Recreation Director, Bill Green, who is a fabulous resource, and his support is invaluable and always appreciated. The East Fishkill Summer Camp is such a fabulous asset to our families and children of our community, and we are very proud and thankful to be a part of it. We look forward to next year. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Oppenheim. Anybody else wish to speak on any general town issues? Can you see those through the TV?
Got it.
Good evening, Supervisor D'Alessandro and Town Board and members, other members. I have some papers to hand out to you, if I could. My name is Julie Diddell. We've talked before to you. I know you and you know me, and I'm the president of the Friends of Griffin's Tavern. And Griffin's Tavern is the beloved birthplace of liberty here in East Fishkill. Even though the tavern sits in ruin post-fire in the mid-1990s, its significance is not diminished. And the love that the community has for this structure, even as a ruin, is practically 100%, 99.99%. So much so that we have over 600 followers and people that like us on our Facebook page. And they come from the community, and they come from outside the community. So it's a really, really important place here in East Fishkill and Hopewell Junction. As I said, it is the birthplace of liberty. Of liberty. All of these veterans have something in common with Griffin's Tavern. Griffin's Tavern is in imminent danger of demolition. And we at the Friends of Griffin's Tavern are advocating for the preservation of the ruin. In 2017, we brought in 2 architectural firms that assessed the ruin, and they concurred that it can be preserved. What a beautiful thing it could be for this community. Earlier this spring, when we thought it was at the verge of demolition, we started getting letters from supporters far and wide. One of them is from Robert Seelig, and I'll just read a couple excerpts from it. Dr. Seelig is the historical consultant and project historian for something called the Washington Rochambeau Revolutionary Route National Historic Trail. This is a National Parks trail that is over 600 miles long, and it runs from Newport, Rhode Island, down to Yorktown, Virginia. The Fishkill Supply Depot is on the Washington-Rochambeau Revolutionary Trail. We call it W3R, so you might hear me refer to it as W3R. The Fishkill Supply Depot is on it. I'm a board member of the Washington-Rochambeau National Trail Association. I know what their plans are for expanding the trail in the future. And Dr. Seelig writes about the potential for Griffin's Tavern to be placed on this national trail. And he said, when French General the Marquis de Chastellux traveled from Newport to West Point to meet with General Washington in November 1780, he planned to spend the night at Colonel Griffin's Tavern. And the fact is, Chastellux writes about Griffin's Tavern in his journal. And he writes about talking to Jacob Griffin right here down the street. That a French general would know of Jacob Griffin's Tavern is a reflection of the important role the tavern in the town of East Fishkill played in the Revolutionary War history and in the struggle for American independence. The list of illustrious visitors to the tavern, Washington and the Marquis de Lafayette, and Chastellux and General Putnam and Baron von Steuben, these are all people that visited the tavern. And it shows that they were brothers in arms between France and the United States and made the victory in the struggle against Great Britain possible. He goes on to say, the preservation of that history forms the foundation of the Washington-Rochambeau Revolutionary Route National Trail, and an obligation to future generations that I'm sure we can all agree upon. Griffin's Tavern meets at least one of the 5 criteria developed by the National Park Service for inclusion of the site on the route. And he says, as these criteria demonstrate, preserving the site would not involve large expenditures to the property owner and the Friends of Griffin's Tavern in the town of East Fishkill, but simply preserving the above-grade ruin and landscaping the site could be enough to place it and the town of East Fishkill onto the National Historic Trail. The above-grade ruin in situ, in other words, in place, is a critical factor for inclusion. Anything less would negate Griffin's Tavern for consideration. That is a huge thing, and that is why we're advocating for the preservation of the ruin right there, where it is, where it always has been. If it's demolished, that would deny the current residents of East Fishkill and future generations of that distinction of being on the National Historic Trail. So it's very heavy. It's a very heavy thing. I'll read another letter, some excerpts addressed to the Honorable Nicholas D'Alessandro, and I was copied on it. And it says, "Good day, sir. I am Kevin C. Depew, a member of the Sons of the American Revolution, Columbia Mid-Hudson Valley Chapter, and president of the Depew Broadhead Family Association. Being made aware, through my organization and his comrades at the SAR, of the possible demolition of Griffin's Tavern, East Fishkill. I am a 20-year veteran of the USMC, United States Marine Corps, with combat Desert Storm, and with countless ancestors who fought in the Revolution. We strongly support the preservation of Griffin's Tavern, along with my comrades and our family association." He goes on to say, it is historical places such as these that every effort should be made to preserve them. So thank you, Gunnery Sergeant Kevin Depew, USMC retired. There is great support in the veterans community for the preservation of Griffin's Tavern. Lastly, Supervisor D'Alessandro was sent a letter from Neil Kaplan, who is the executive director and founder of the Bannerman Castle Trust. We all know Bannerman's Castle. And what a great job Neil Kaplan and his group has done to preserve a ruin. And they've made it a tourist attraction. He says, as the director and founder of the Bannerman Castle Trust, I urge you to ask Royal Karting not to demolish the remains of Griffin's Tavern. The tavern is an important part of East Fishkill history, and the remains are very important to keep. Royal Karting would be doing a public service that is important. Too often, we lose our historic buildings and sites to private business. He goes on to say, I have worked on Bannerman Island for over 26 years. When I started, people said it couldn't be done. They were wrong. Bannerman Island is open to the public and thriving. Bannerman's Island was in ruin and has come back to life. So can Griffin's Tavern. Please help. Sincerely, Neil Kaplan, Executive Director and Founder of the Bannerman Castle Trust. So these are just a small example of the letters that have been written. We have over 60 other letters. More to come, no doubt, because they just don't make Griffin's Taverns anymore. It's a gem right here in the community. And we have a concept plan. And I invite you and Royal Karting to meet with us to see our concept, to see how public access can be achieved. We've figured out how. So even though it's on the site of a busy transfer station, there is an opportunity, and it's a very creative concept. So, brought some posters today. This poster shows, and it's funny, you drive by Griffin's Tavern now and it's totally obscured with overgrown trees and brush. You can't even see the ruin there. But in the fall and through the winter and the early spring, you can see the stone ruins. And this is what they look like. We just took these pictures this past winter. And part of our concept is modeled on the Colden Mansion over in Montgomery, where they have braced the walls. Where there are openings, where there were window openings, they frame the inside of those windows, they repoint the stones, and that is part of the initial preservation, but there's more that we have in our concept. In my lifetime, we may not see Griffin's Tavern come back to this, how it really looked when Chastellux visited it. This is what it looked like. We may not see it get to that, but let's give it an interpretation where the public can appreciate it and think about what it used to look like. So thank you for that. I have some of my colleagues here tonight that may want to say something. Again, we have a concept, and I would really appreciate opportunity to sit with you and Royal Karting to talk about that. So thank you. Good night.
Hi, my name is Keith Riley. I'm a resident of Hopewell Junction, and I'm an American history teacher here in Carmel. Here in the Hudson Valley, we're blessed to live in an area that's played such a vital role in winning independence. As a teacher, I attempt to share local history with my students. Unfortunately, much has been lost. Throughout the Hudson Valley, historic sites have been replaced by gas stations, battle sites reduced to golf courses, and supply depots paved over to make way for tacky chain restaurants. Here in East Fishkill, we have the ruins of Griffin's Tavern. Today, most people drive by without knowing its story. But 250 years ago, this tavern was the cradle of democracy. When the United States was in its infancy and when the cause was in doubt, this tavern provided rest and safety for the soldiers of the revolution to carry on. Today, most of us take for granted our democracy and our freedoms. But as these sites vanish, the soldiers' stories are lost and the cause gets forgotten. As a teacher, we need to keep these historic ruins as a reminder of where we came from. Out of historic ruins creates curiosity of the past, and critical thinking to inspire the next generation of young patriots. As a teacher, as a citizen, I cannot tolerate this loss of our history. The question is, can you tolerate it? The time is now. We need your help to do what's in your power to preserve the tavern for our original hometown heroes. Your town, your country, and future generations will remember you for having the courage to preserve this vital piece of American history. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Teresa Kraft. I'm from Beacon. I'm involved in historic preservation throughout the Hudson Valley. I am the co-historian for the city of Beacon. I am co-chairman of Mid-Hudson Historic Destinations. I'm a committee member of the Fishkills 250. You don't know about it yet, but you will hear about it a lot. It's a consortium of local organizations and historians that was formed in 2017 to coordinate the semi-quincentennial events celebrating the 250th anniversary of the American Revolution. It's going to partake during, the activities are 2025 through 2033, those students. This is a USA 250. You'll hear about it big. It's like the bicentennial. I too am asking that you preserve Griffin's Tavern. Do anything you can in your power in this municipality to work with the business, to see that it is for the people. Yes, it is private land, but there are many private lands that are turned into historic sites. It's a sacred ruins. Dutchess Tourism has statistics about the millions of dollars left in our communities by tourists who come here to see a lot of things, including historic sites. The tavern was very important during the American Revolution. As Julie said, it was visited by Lafayette, Putnam, von Steuben. It was the scene of the signing of the Oath of Allegiance on August 13th, 1775 in Dutchess County. It is a stop on the bicycle tour of historic sites in Dutchess County. It is a stop on the Dutchess Tours historic driving tours. It's already a historic stop. Preserve it. It's one of the most important Revolutionary War sites in the Hudson Valley. For that alone, we all must work together and preserve it. Thank you.
I also would like to speak about the tavern. Good afternoon, Supervisor and members of the board. My name is Senior Master Sergeant Carlos Prince. I was in the Air Force for over 30 years. I'm chairperson for Hudson Valley Veterans Alliance. Y'all haven't heard about us yet, but you will. We have all the veterans that we can in Hudson Valley. And let me get my notes here. I also serve on the Sus Serenos Veterans Board. I'm here to speak about the tavern because I see all the pictures you have of veterans, and the way I see this in 250 years, nobody would care about the veterans you have on the wall. The same way we are thinking about the tavern, nobody cares about it. This is our history. This is American history that we're supposed to try and preserve for our future so everybody could understand and know how we started and where we are headed to and where we're going. And then we appreciated the board, if you guys would get involved the best you can, you know, that's all we could ask, and see if you could speak to people that own the property to help us preserve our history. That's the same thing going on with the deep on the other side. For some reason, nobody cared in preserving American history. We're supposed to know where we come from to know where we're going to go to. And we would appreciate very much if you guys give us a hand the best way you can in trying and preserving the tavern. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, just a few comments on the speakers, Julie and Steve, Teresa, and the Master Sergeant. Thank you for your comments. As everybody knows, Steve, Keith, I'm sorry how you got that. I do appreciate your comments. As you said, it is private property. The town doesn't have a lot to say here. I did speak with the last year and the beginning of this year and last year. I did speak to the property owner about possible suggestions what to do there. Ms. Seidel gave me a lot of information about the historic significance of the site, and I did speak then with our historical society and what to do, and we had a meeting about that. I believe Councilman Franco attended with me. And we have a thriving historical society in our town because people care. We care about our historical buildings. The town board sets aside a lot of dollars every year towards the improving and the keeping of historical sites in our town. Like some of the speakers did say, it is private property. It is a DEC garbage transfer site. The property owner I believe does not want to keep the site. So I did ask him if he could transfer some of the building to another site, just like we did at our East Fishkill Historical Society site at the Brinkerhoff House off of Kensington Drive. We have multiple buildings that have been restored there. So many people, children, school children come on field trips to see all these sites. It's a beautiful, wonderful site. I was hoping that we could do something with the tavern with that, but I don't think Ms. Seidel was looking in that direction. Other than that, I don't know what else the town can do. I did speak to the property owner. It is on private property. Besides that, Tom, does the town have any other purview here? No, it's a difficult. I understand your passion, but
Yes. I know it's a difficult thing, and that's why we need your help, and we need the community's help. I invite everyone to the watching public to follow us on Facebook and reach out to us. We have a concept, and you haven't seen that concept yet, nor has the property owner.
I asked him
And,
if he wanted to sit down, but
they
he
have-
didn't want it.
So we just ask for you to continue to do what you can. We will continue to do what we can. Let's have an open mind. The site, if it's moved, it has no potential to be on the National Historic Trail. That should mean something to the property owner who does a lot of business in this town.
Yes, and he gives a lot to our community.
Does, and
And
so-
speaking
and we-
of having an open mind, you wouldn't want to see that rebuilt on another historic site where people can appreciate it?
It loses all of its historic value.
Yeah, but it doesn't lose its value to people wanting to go visit it and
We
see
have a
it.
plan to allow that. So we need to. That's why we need a sit down, like your meeting with iPark. Like you said, the town supports other historic sites. Those historic sites are private property. So we just need an opportunity, and we need your support.
Well,
So
Mrs. Liddell,
thanks. Yes,
if I
sir.
could say, I think that we have been supportive in the past, and we've been trying to come up with some sort of resolution here, but it appears, and we are all for working together, everybody on this board with you.
Right?
But
So we can't
there's
give
an-
up. We
right,
can't
but
give up.
there's an appearance of it's either your way or that's it. And we can't have that if we're gonna all work together. We have to come up
I
with
don't
a
know that,
solution
I don't
for
know that,
everybody.
I don't know that all ideas have been explored. So I asked for that opportunity with the property owner to explore that opportunity because the public wants that. The public doesn't want to see it demolished from its current site. And that's all I'm saying. I think there would be a real great thing for this town to see this concept and then to work to implement it. So thank you, gentlemen. I look forward to talking to you.
Thank you. Anybody else wish to speak on any general town issues, on anything on the agenda? Mr. Vogt, how are you tonight?
Good, thank you. My name is Greg Vogt. My wife and I have lived in East Fishkill for 48 years. Actually, she was longer than that. But I would like to comment on two things. First, our roads. I know we've got a proposal coming up in November to invest in the infrastructure of the highways. And I'd like to comment on that by pulling people back to a meeting that was held in this room when the previous highway superintendent, Bill McClellan, was in office. He was asked to do a comprehensive study of our roads and to put a price tag on it and move forward to say what would the priorities be and how could we go about improving the road structure. He drew a lot of heat, believe me. There were a lot of people who spoke out and said we can't afford it. In fact, there was a poster at the front table, and I can't remember what it said exactly, but it was something to the effect of, don't throw Granny under the bus, meaning you can't raise the cost of living so much that it hurts people, and you could affect senior citizens. Well, I've got to tell you, Granny's under the bus, and what she's doing is repairing it, because it's broken. Our highways are really in bad shape. And I think it's time to bite the bullet and pass this proposal and start to rebuild. In fact, Bill made a comment that I remember very clearly. He said, pay now or pay a lot more later. And that's the theme of what we've got to talk about for November. Because if we continue to put patches on patches on patches, it just becomes more and more expensive. And I think Ken Williams and his team do a great job of maintaining the roads and working with what they have, but they don't have enough. And so at some point in time, you've got to say, let's stop fixing the patches and let's start redoing it. So I would encourage the residents, anybody who's watching on this, think about it. You know, I stood up at the last time when Bill was making the proposal, and I said it's the cost of a front-end alignment per year. Well, what's it cost to repair a wheel that's bent, or a front end that's out of alignment because the roads are so bad? We've really got to step up to the plate and give the department enough money that they can start a long-term process of repairing our roads for the better. So that was one comment. So good job, but hopefully we can give you some money to do the rest of it and really start over with the infrastructure. The second thing is I would like to speak briefly about Hillside Lake. I know it's been a problem for decades. The lake was created by putting in a dam. It flooded a low-lying area. It's, as Scott will say, it's really not a lake, because it's a man-made structure with stumps and everything else showing now that the water has been drained out of it. I know that it's a real challenge. It's tough to get money to do a big project. I'd like to commend Scott Bryant for doing a super job of maximizing the project as he has been able to, where he saw opportunities. Great job. And I'd like to encourage the town to be open to figuring out ways that we can, again, long-term, get the lake back to where it should be. So I'd like to thank you for your efforts and encourage you to continue to invest in the lake. I think it's worth doing, and we really appreciate the efforts Nick and your team have put forth to get us where we are. Pardon?
I'd like to add highway as well, the highway department as well.
They've been out there working like crazy, doing the work, and I've seen you out there a number of times helping, at least I hope you're helping, and getting things moving forward. So great job. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Mr. Bo. Yeah, it's, we did discuss the plan for the roadway plan, capital reserve fund for our highways. The last couple meetings, we did discuss, the town board did vote unanimously to put it on the November ballot for the people to decide. It is, we will be coming up with a postcard, a flyer that will be going to all the home owners in town to give a description of what the back of the ballot will look like, what it will say on the ballot, and also some facts about what the effects will be. It is a huge problem. I do thank the former highway superintendent when he did the original plan for it. It was a lot of work. He put a lot of work into it. And we just changed a few things around, but basically it's the same package with just a couple of changes. And it's needed for our town. If we don't do it now, it's going to cost us much, much more, like Mr. Vogt said. And Hillside Lake, we will continue. We are looking at long-term plans where we are going to be looking at the dam and see what we have to do with that. That is a big question mark right now. Depending on the cost to repair that, we'll determine what we will do there. But we will be having meetings with the community and discussing what's going to happen. So thank you for your comments.
I just want to add a comment in regard to what the gentleman just said regarding the proposal for repaving roads. I am a big advocate of not increasing taxes in the community. And at the time, I was one of the people that opposed a massive spending. We were talking of something like $25 million at the time to invest in our roads. Our roads are a problem, like all the roads in this state are a problem. So I voted in favor of the plan of allowing people to decide for themselves which way they want to go. We all know that we have a problem, but at the same time, there has been an highway department in existence in this town maybe for about 40 years. And money has been given to that highway department to address the roads. Now, I'm going to say it in public again. Somebody didn't do the due diligence how the money that was spent. This town board at the time, not this town board, the previous town board, they bonded to pave roads. And when my question was raised, how much roads have you paved? I was not given an answer. To me, that's a big problem. That's a problem of accountability. This town board right now is very diligent in spending the taxpayers' dollars. And yes, I am responsible for spending the seniors' dollars. I feel very responsible. I'm a business owner. I know every time I have to put money aside to pay some additional taxes, I take money out of my family to pay for that. And yet I am a responsible individual. I was the one that put in Granny under the bus. Who has to advocate for those people? We all have bad roads. Wappingers has bad roads. The Taconic is in shambles. The 84 is a disaster. So when we talk that our town needs roads, yes, we do need roads, but we need to address it responsibly. I don't want to say millions and millions. Right now, we're showing a need of necessity. Just like when we decide to go to war. We have to go to war. It's not the way to do it. It's got to be sensible. And this town board, I applaud these gentlemen for being sensible people. The money has to be spent, but the money was not spent properly before. And to me, that's a serious problem. Somebody should come up to that podium and address how they spend their money. And yet we have silence. I have a problem with that. And I'm sorry if I have to behave this way, but you know, I hear it every day. We got to spend money. If we don't spend it today, we're going to spend more tomorrow. I know that. We all know that. But then we have pension funds. We have retirement funds. We have our increasing cost of health care. Where are we going to get the rest of that money? We could say tonight, let's raise our taxes 20%, just like every other locality does around here. That's not responsible. I am sorry if I have to say that it's not responsible behavior. So, I'm sorry if I have to feel this way and come out and say it one more time. I will be very cautious, and I'm very happy that this town board allows the community to say, yes, we do need to go this way, or no, we do not need to go this way. Somebody has to come up with an answer, and I haven't heard that answer yet. So I thank you very much for the support in the plan, but let's be sensible. Let's do it gradually. I don't want to push people out of the community. Every day I hear people say to me, I'm moving because I can no longer afford to live here. And those, yes, are seniors that have been living in this community for generations, and they can't pay their bills. 3 years ago, when the gasoline and the diesel price and the oil price were going high, I've had people stop in my store and says, you know, where have you been? I went to get some diesel to put in my fuel tank because I can't afford 150 gallons for heating purposes. What do we tell those people? That's the reality that goes on in this community, that nobody talks about it. But I got to talk about it, because I know it goes on. So I thank for the comments, but please, let's be reasonable. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. We know you're very passionate.
I am. I'm sorry again if I...
No, don't be sorry. We all feel the same way. We don't want to spend taxpayer dollars unnecessarily, and that's why this town board came up with the solution to, with a capital reserve fund that will lock in those dollars for only the paving. Those dollars will not be utilized for anything else. This town board, no town board in the future can ever access those funds for anything other than road paving. That's why we put it on the ballot. That's why the people have a voice to say, and that's the law, actually. If we curtail the power of the town board, which is the power of the purse, then the people have to vote for it. And that's what we wanted. We wanted the people to vote and say, you can't touch those dollars for anything other than this. And we all were in agreement. So, Mr. Grasso, go right ahead.
Oh, thank you. We were on the train of thanking everybody before regarding Hillside Lake, and I want to thank Glenn Metzger, who donated a lot of his time, his machinery, his truck, and did a lot because he cares about Hillside Lake. And one more person I'd like to thank. I don't hear him get a lot of thank yous.
Me.
And I don't give them out too easy. But I'd like to thank Tom Wood for his knowledge and for handling everything that comes by way of this town. I gotta say, I think he does a good job. Thank you.
How much that cost you, Tom? Pay me cash.
Anybody else wish to speak on any general town issues, anything on the agenda? Anything at all? No? Okay. With that, do we have anything for receipt and file?
No?
No? All right, resolutions. Number 1, Julie's Jungle Century Garden bid. Councilman Franco, would you read that, please?
Sure. Whereas the Recreation Director has requested that they are in need of materials with regards to the Sensory Garden installation at Julie's Jungle, the town has secured necessary funds to complete the garden from both Julie's Jungle and the DASNY grant that has been previously awarded. Whereas the town clerk has advertised and received bids for materials to complete such tasks. Whereas the adjusted amount of the bid is due to the fact that the Cabana Lumber and Hardware item number 3 has been deducted from the bid, and be it further resolved that Adams Landscaping has submitted a bid for said materials. Adams Landscaping being hereby is awarded the bid in the adjusted amount of $42,245.48.
Thank you, Councilman. Do I have a motion to award a bid for Century Garden for Julie's Jungle?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? Like I mentioned before, we had a meeting about this to adjust the bid, to subtract something out of it. This was a grant from Dutchess County to finish the work for the Century Garden, or to do the work for the Century Garden, so we thank you to them. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried, thank you. Number 2, award the bid for demolition. We will be tabling that. Everybody received a town engineer memo on that for the removal of the unsafe structure. Look to that for the future. Number 3, approve the bond reduction for Hopewell Glen. Deputy Supervisor, would you read that?
Whereas the Toll Brothers, the developer of Hopewell Glen subdivision, has requested a reduction in the performance bond previously posted, and whereas the town engineer has reviewed and request with is attached to recommended a reduction of the town board. Now therefore be resolved that the performance bond posted by Toll Brothers for the Hopewell Glen subdivision phase 3 in the amount of $683,400 be reduced to $173,600 for a total reduction of $509,800.
Thank you, Deputy Supervisor. Do I have a motion to authorize the bond reduction?
So moved.
I have a second? Discussion? This is as per, right, on Pat with everything else.
And it was unanimously recommended by the planning board on Tuesday night.
Excellent. Thank you. Any other comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried, thank you. Number 4, set a hearing on unsafe structure. Councilman Marinaro, would you read that?
Whereas the town board is vested with the power to declare certain structures unsafe in accordance with the law. Whereas the town engineer has recommended that the town board consider condemnation action on an unsafe structure at 1 Azamata Road as per the attached memo. And whereas it is now the recommendation of the town supervisor that the town authorize a hearing regarding unsafe structures proceedings. And be it further resolved that the town board will conduct a hearing regarding the above named structure on September 26, 2019.
Thank you, Councilman. Do I have a motion to authorize the hearing for the unsafe structure?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? Well, these have been coming up recently. There are many buildings in town that need to be cleaned up. They're unsafe. So we have to get to it sooner or later. So I made it part of my administration goals to get rid of these buildings that people don't want to see, people that are worried that they're going to fall down. If somebody would access that site illegally, something would happen. So one by one, we're trying to clean it up. Do I have a motion? First, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Okay, number 5, set a public hearing with respect to amending master plan and adopting zoning changes. So tonight we had a discussion, we had a workshop where our planner and our contracted planner went through the I-zones. The town board did a moratorium on I-zones last year, and we did a very comprehensive look at all the I-zones in town. Now we are going to have to look to finishing this up, to ending the moratorium and adopting a law, but I think that we will extend the moratorium a little longer. So this public hearing will be for exactly to accept the report, is that correct?
Correct, and to amend the master plan.
And to amend it.
And then to set a public hearing to consider extending the moratorium for, let's say, 90 days, so that the statute can be discussed by your committee you appointed.
Right. Okay, so then this public hearing will be to amend the master plan and adopt the study, and then we can have another public hearing to extend the moratorium to add it to the comprehensive plan.
To extend the moratorium
I'm sorry,
for 90 days.
For 90
right?
days, yes. And then,
That's it.
and then that's it, okay. I was getting confused, thank you.
Do we want to have that on September 26th as well?
Yes, it would be
Okay.
simultaneous.
Okay, so then do I have a motion to set the public hearing for September 26, 2019, 7 p.m. to amend the master plan and accept the study?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
I have a question.
Yes.
Tom, if there are any discussion at the time or proposed amendments to the way that the plan was presented, does it have to be done at that meeting, the 26th?
No, the
Or prior?
26th is just to say that the study that's been done is part of the master plan, and then the zoning ordinance will be worked on over the next 90 days after that. And that's
If
when
there are
the-
any questions regarding the way that plan is approved, rather than accepting it per se as it is?
Well, then that, if you have questions about it, the public hearing on 26th about the master plan, you can question the report before it's adopted.
Okay,
Correct.
so it will be done on the 26th?
Yes.
Thank you.
And I have set a committee up, Councilman. I know you couldn't attend the workshop. I had a committee of the planner, the engineer, the chair of the planning board, chair of the zoning board, and 2 members of the town board to review some of the proposals from the planner. So you can also discuss with the planner all about this.
Have we already set the 2 members that are going to be?
Yeah, Councilman Beepan and then Councilman Cassidy tonight said he would like to sit in. Okay, I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried, thank you. Number 6, Red Wing Bathhouse, Councilman, Deputy Supervisor, would you read it?
Whereas the town of East Fishkill received a grant from the Dormitory Authority on the state of New York, DASNY, for the renovation of the existing bathhouse. Whereas the renovations would upgrade the facilities and provide for ADA accessibility. Whereas the town board determined that the proposed improvements will involve no substantial changes in the existing structure or facility. And whereas the town board determined that the proposed project meets the definition of type 2 action under section 617. And whereas type 2 actions are those actions or classes of actions which have been found categorically but not significant adverse impacts to the environment, or actions that have been statutorily exempted from seeker review. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board of East Fishkill has determined that the proposed bathhouse reservations to Red Wing Park are a type 2 action and do not require preparation of an EAF, a negative or positive deck, or an EIS, which requires no further processing under seeker.
Oh, thank you, Councilman. A long one for you. Do I have a motion to determine Red Wing Bathhouse renovation as a type 2 action? Do I have a second? Second discussion. So we are receiving a grant from Dutchess County as well to renovate our Red Wing bathhouses, and basically this just delineates that it is a type 2 action and no further secret is required. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried, thank you. Number 7, authorize full-time seasonal tax office. Councilman Marinaro, would you read that?
Whereas the independent elected receiver of taxes has designated Leonore Dewey to be the tax record clerk on a seasonal basis in her department, and whereas the seasonal schedule will be for the town and tax collection January 1st to April 30th, and the school tax collection September 1st to October 30th. And whereas the town board has agreed and concurred with this request, and now therefore be it resolved that Leonore Dewey be and hereby is designated as a seasonal tax record clerk in the tax department. It be further resolved that said clerk should be compensated with $14.71 per hour in accordance with the collective bargaining agreement. His appointment shall take effect as of September 1st, 2019.
Thank you, Councilman. Do I have a motion to appoint seasonal tax clerk?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? So the tax office had a seasonal tax clerk, but the highway superintendent stole her. So this is replacing her. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried, thank you. Number 8, we will be tabling number 8. We have received a memo from the clerk. Did you see that there were no bids received for this road paving project? So, I've been discussing this with this highway superintendent and the town engineer, and we are on board still with reclaiming the road, and we're looking at different avenues to pave it. After we reclaim the road, then we have to put a top coat on top of it. This is what wasn't bid. So we're looking at other options right now. We're looking at other town bids that we could piggyback off of, or possibly another town helping us with some paving. So I will let the town board know, but Resolution 8 will be tabled. Number 9, declaring plastic sport surface towels surplus material. Councilman Franco, would you read it?
Sure. Whereas the Director of Recreation has provided the town board with a memo stating that roller hockey rink plastic surface towels are deemed to be of no further use to the town and thus should be considered surplus. Whereas the town board has reviewed said memo and concurs. Now therefore be it resolved that the roller hockey rink plastic surface towels hereby are declared to be surplus and are to be disposed of in a proper manner.
Thank you, Councilman. Do I have a motion to declare this rec equipment as surplus?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion?
Yes, I talked to the head of the roller hockey league, and he actually knows of somebody in Pittsburgh who wants to purchase the tiles. So, apparently he's going to put him in touch with myself, and he'll be responsible for coming in and getting the tiles. and I explained to him that, correct me if I'm wrong, Tom, but to purchase that, the money that we would get to go directly into the general fund.
Correct.
So, do we have to advertise this?
Well, once you declare it surplus, then you have to dispose of it in a manner that you think is appropriate.
Okay.
So, like with the police department, when we get rid of equipment, they use the online auction service.
Okay.
This is a particular type of material, so I guess if there's another buyer, we get a couple of quotes to make sure it's in the.
Okay, very good. Okay.
When he falls on, contact us, we'll go from there.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
The building and maintenance foreman was very concerned of where to put this all. So, if they want to buy it, they better hurry up because it's like 20 pallets or something like that. Okay, any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried, thank you. We do have a budget transfer tonight. The town comptroller has forwarded this to everybody. I hope you all reviewed it. Are there any questions, concerns about it? Mark, has anybody, anything to change on what you
No
proposed?
changes. No changes have been requested.
No? Do I have a motion to accept the budget transfers?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried, thank you very much. Comments? Highway Superintendent?
Me?
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Here first.
we've been out working on Cross Road. We've completed some drainage work there, and we've also put the blacktop back in place where we crossed the road. Tina Lane, we've done additional drainage work, catch basin replacement, and we also patched the road back in. We've also been working with our town engineer, Scott Bryant, and Hillside Lake, helping out wherever we can. And again, those tiles were an issue, but we've taken care of that. And our Parks and Rec, we've completed most of the redoing of the mulch, especially down in Wikipedia, our soccer, and we are going to be up at Leetown Park and the Hopewell Park in the next coming weeks. And we're also currently replacing some drainage on Overhill and also doing some small paving with our small paver up on that area. Mountaintop Road will be next. We'll be doing also some tree work on West Hook Road in the next coming week as well. We were also helped out the Historical Society with their trees over there too.
Oh, great, thank you. I'm sure they were happy.
And Limestone Park as well on the walking trail, we've taken down quite a few of the ash trees that have been dying off pretty easily with the ash borer beetle. So, that's pretty much it for us.
All right, thank you, nice glasses. Chief, you have anything?
Even now, you know?
You have anything, Chief?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Supervisor, members of council. Earlier in the month, there were a couple of tragedies nationwide, Dayton, Ohio, and El Paso, Texas, two just terrible active shooter events. And I just want to remind our citizens that the department offers 2 trainings free of charge to all citizens that really, unfortunately, are quite relevant to these events. The first one's a citizen response to active shooter event, and the second is Stop the Bleed. And so far, we've trained 200 people in the Stop the Bleed, and we've also trained 100 in the CRAZE, the citizen response. So we're going to be posting more online as to when we have these classes. We encourage the community to sign up. It's just an unfortunate world we live in at times that these type of trainings have to be out there for people to take. And just one more thing, we had a couple of our officers receive Narcan training to become instructors, and they're going to be on September 3rd. School districts having their Superintendent's Day just prior to school over at Wappinger Wappinger Junior High, and the officers that now have that training will be giving Narcan training to the staff of the school district. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
One other thing. The chief and I also attended the senior picnic as well.
Oh, yes, that's right, you were there. Thank you for attending. The seniors did get your ear for a lot of
They
things.
did.
I saw them.
I hear about the roads a lot.
Yeah. Okay, board member comments? Councilman Franco?
Sure. Recreation, East Fishkill Youth Basketball registration is now open. You can register online at eastfishkillrecreation.com. There's rolling registration by mail or in person. That's at the Limekiln Rec Facility, Rec Office. Those hours are Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., and Saturday, 8:30 to 12 noon. You can register in person on September 25th from 7 to 9 p.m. at the Community Center. And if you have any questions, please call 226-8395. For our Veterans Committee, on Sunday, September 29th, we will be honoring our veterans with a luncheon at the East Fishkill Recreation Facility. This invite goes out to all East Fishkill veterans. We're accepting donations for this event and would like to thank all those who have donated food and money so far. The lunch starts at noon and we're looking forward to honoring our hometown heroes. For more information, please reach out to me anytime at 914-204-6188.
Thanks, Councilman. Councilman Marinaro?
So, as far as the police department, I usually keep in touch and talk to the various members of the police department on a weekly basis. And so far, everything is moving along quite well. Everyone in the department is in good spirit. So I thank you from all of us in the community, and to the chief, you're present tonight. This past Tuesday, this week, Councilman Cassidy and I, we met with the Community Day Committee to continue the planning of the last details for our local Community Day Parade. This year is an important event because we will honor the founding fathers of our local East Fishkill Volunteer Fire Department and ambulance. They're long-lasting members and the volunteers that devote their precious time to serve in our community. We all thank you. And also yesterday, we attended with the rest of the board, and myself included, the event with the National Senior Citizen Day, sponsored by the county executive. It was very well attended, even though we had downpours. Everybody was really happy to be there, and I just want to wish everybody in the community a very healthy and safe Labor Day celebration. Thank you.
Deputy Supervisor?
Just one more little thing on Community Day. There's still time to register, still time to sponsor, still time to get involved. And it's going to be the 24th, so next year is going to be even bigger. And I'd like to thank the Highway and the Police Department for all that they do, and also thank the Fire Department and the Fire Police who were out there the other night. And these weather storms are coming in quick, and you get wet.
Quick, too.
Quick.
So this is the 24th Community Day?
We started the year you were born.
And you were, and I wish, and you were the co-founder, huh?
Co-founder.
Co-founder.
So I'm 26.
Good for you, that's great. Well, our next town board meeting is our workshop on September 12th, 2019. I wish everybody a happy Labor Day, have a safe and a wonderful end of your summer. And with that, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you.